Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Fashli bin Sharizad, and my group members is Nurul Hussaina binti Abdul, Aiman Fahmi bin Suhaimi, and the last person is Nur Shahida binti Mohd Said, and we are from KBA 2424A. Now we would like to present about Islamic banking system. So let's enjoy it. So, what is Islamic banking? Islamic banking, also referred to as Islamic finance or Sharia compliant finance, refers to finance or banking activities that adhere to Sharia, which is Islamic law. Two fundamental principles of Islamic banking are the sharing of profit and loss and the prohibition of the collection and payment of interest by lenders and investors. Islamic banks make a profit through equity participation, which requires a borrower to give the bank a share in their profits rather than paying interest. Some conventional banks have windows or sections that provide designated Islamic banking services to their customers. Next, I want to pass this presentation to Nur Shahida.
Hi, my name is Nur Shahida binti Mohd Said. Now I will continue to present about the history of Islamic banking. From the historical point of view, Islamic banking can be divided into three eras, which is first era is the early year of the Islam until the period of Caliph al-Rashidin. Second era is the era of stretches from the era of the caliphates until the fall of the Uthmaniyya Empire. And lastly, third era is the era of modern Islamic banking. In the early history of Islam, the injunction against interest was strictly observed, but with the decadence of the moral values, financial practice based on interest, which is riba, began to permeate. In the period of colonial domination, the interest system became solidly entrenched in Muslim countries. With attainment of the freedom from foreign power of the resurgence of Islam, there is a widespread yearning in Muslim countries to reorder the economic life in the light of Islam. In this context, the elimination of riba, which is strictly prohibited, became the biggest challenge faced by the Muslim. During 20th century, the Muslim expert paid a good deal of attention in economic, banking and finance to find way and means eliminating riba. Islamic banking system was established during 1970. Among the first institution was the Nasir Social Bank, which started operation in Cairo, Egypt in 1972. In 1975, Dubai Islamic Bank was established. During the last 3 decades, immense research and efforts have been made to confine the system for Pakistani environment. In the present decade, the Islamic banking system was gained a good position in the world around. Next, I'm gonna to present about the historical development of Islamic banking in Malaysia. In 1980, several parties were calling for establishment of Islamic bank due to resurgence that happened in Middle East. Malaysian government had been offered by Bumiputra Economic Congress to set up Islamic bank in this country. Bumiputra Economic Congress made a resolution which required the government to allow the pilgrimage board known as Lembaga Tabung Haji to establish an Islamic banking. In 1981, the government appointed National Steering Committee on Islamic Banking to study the operation of FIBE and FIBS. In 1982, a report was made by NSC and submitted their report to the government. In 1983, Islamic Banking Act was gazetted and came to effect on 7 April 1983. The first Islamic bank, which is Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad, was established under Companies Act 1965 on the 1st March 1983 and commenced operation on 1st July of the same year. In 1994, the government launched the interest-free banking scheme. The scheme allowed financial institutions to offer Islamic banking products and services. Islamic interbank market was introduced same year. In 1997, BNM established the National Sharia Advisory Council, which consists of academicians and Sharia experts in Islamic banking and takaful. In 1999, second full-fledged Islamic banking was established, which is the Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad. In 2004, BNM allowed foreign Islamic bank to operate in Malaysia. Financial liberation of Islamic banking sector with the issuance of 3 new Islamic licenses under Islamic Banking Act 1983 from Middle East to Islamic financial institution. 2006 is the year when Malaysia International Islamic Finance Center was launched. Besides, dual banking system have been implemented and Malaysia become the first nation have full-fledged Islamic system operation side by side with conventional system. That's end my part of the presentation. I would like to pass the presentation back to Syahmi.
Okay, thank you Shahida. Now is goals and objective of Islamic banking. There are 5 points, which is the first one is offer financial services. Focus on offering banking transactions, adhering to Sharia principle and avoiding conventional interest-based banking transactions. The second point is economic development. Establish a direct and close relationship between the bank's return on investment and the successful operation of the business by the entrepreneur. The third point is optimum resources allocation. Considered to be most profitable, religiously permissible, and are beneficial to the economy. Okay, next point is optimum approach. Banks conduct proper studies before getting into projects. High returns distribute to shareholder maximize the social benefits and bring prosperity to the economy. Okay, the last point is facilitate stability in money value. Islam recognize money as a means of exchange and not as a commodity. Riba-free system leads to the stability in the value of money to enable the medium of exchange. Now, I want to pass to the next presenter.
Thank you, Syahmi. My name is Nur Shahida binti Rahman. I would like to present about principle of Islamic banking. For the first principle of Islamic banking is prohibition of riba. As we know, riba is a concept in Islamic banking that refers to charged interest. In terms of Sharia, riba means premium that must be paid by the borrower to the lender along with the principal amount as a condition for a loan. Riba is strictly prohibited under Islam and is considered as haram. Islam only allow one kind of loan, which is Qardul Hasan. Qardul Hasan is an interest-free loan. The borrower only repays the principal amount. Next, the second principle is prohibition of gharar. Literally, gharar means deceit, fraud, uncertainty, peril or hazard that might lead to destruction or loss. In Islamic finance, most derivative contracts are forbidden and considered invalid because of the uncertainty involved in the future delivery of the underlying asset. For the next principle is equity participation. Islam encourages Muslims invest their money and become partners in order to share profits and risks in the business instead of becoming creditors. In Islam, financing is based on the belief that the financier and borrower should equally share the risk of the business venture. Besides that, contractual relationship also principle of Islamic banking. Contractual relationship depends upon the nature of transaction. It could be a seller and buyer relationship, which is murabaha, a lessor-lessee, and a partnership, which is musyarakah. And the last principles are money as potential capital. It is a way of defining the value of a thing. Should not be allowed to give rise to more money via fixed interest payments supplied by being put in a bank or when lent to someone.
Okay, next, let's look at the role of Islamic banking. Generally, Islamic banking has the same purpose and operation as the conventional banking. But Islamic banking will be practicing the Sharia teaching into their operation. As a financial intermediary, Islamic bank role also is to channeling the funds from the surplus fund unit SFU to the deficit fund unit DFU. Other than that, the primary function of Islamic bank as a financial intermediary are to transform assets, conduct orderly payments, and transform risk. Now, let's look at some of the sources of fund for Islamic banking. First of all, we have deposit funds. Deposit funds are intended for saving or safekeeping, and it guarantees repayment of the sum deposited. We move to another source of fund, which is investment funds. These funds are to be invested without guarantee of any profit or return of the principal. First, we have unrestricted investment account or URIA. In URIA, the bank will hold full discretion in investing the funds received from the customer. And second, we have restricted investment account or RIA. In case of RIA, customers can demand certain restriction on when, where, or how the bank can invest the funds. Alright, now let's discuss the uses of funds, or we may call it as the types of financial instrument offered by the bank to generate revenues. First, we have retail financing. Retail financing refers to a financing activities where the main focus is on service for the individual customers rather than for business or corporate customers. Second, there is corporate financing. Corporate financing provides the specific needs of the business community, which may be differ from retail customers. In addition to debt-based product, Islamic banking also provide lease-based and equity-based alternative for corporate financing. And for the third, we have working capital financing. Working capital deal with the short-term needs of business, which can be viewed in their financial position. This is necessary to pay up any upcoming short-term debts and operational expenses. And lastly, we have trade financing. Trade finance is one of the most important services offered by the Islamic bank. It can be categorized into domestic and international trade. Domestic trade involves the buying and selling of goods and commodities domestically, which include retail trade and wholesale trade, while international trade involves cross-border trade and exchange of goods across national boundaries, which is also known as import and export trade.
In conclusion, Islamic banking is the main feature of the Islamic model that is based on a profit-sharing principle, whereby the risk is shared by the bank and the customer. This system of financial intermediation will contribute to a more equitable distribution of income and wealth. Islamic banking is important because its principle of financial justice, encouraging stability in investment and fairness in dealings. That's all from us. Thank you.